This is going to be a different kind of video. Normally it's me lifting, but I've wanted to do a video like this for a long time because I feel like I've been around a lot in the sport and I've done a lot in this sport. Like the amount of hours I've committed to weightlifting is way beyond what the normal person or even the normal weightlifters is. So I want to take some of the things that I've seen and I've learned along the way and kind of just put it out there. If you want to listen to it, great. If you don't, that's cool too. But we're going to get going. So I'm just essentially talking about like the 3 pillars of what it takes to be good at weightlifting. And I hate to call it something annoying like that, but that's kind of what it is. The one thing and the most important thing is mentality, which we'll dive into a little deeper. Second thing is training, what happens inside of the gym. And then 3 is recovery, what happens outside of the gym. And keep in mind that I have competed at a fairly high level, but I've also lived with the best lifters in the country. I've been roommates with Olympians. I know what the best do. I know what's going through the best heads. I don't fucking know, but I've been around them and I've seen how they operate, what they do, and why they're really fucking good at the sport, and what they have that even I don't have that separates them from me. And we'll get into it. The first thing is their delusional confidence, and this is something that I don't have, but the best athletes I've seen have. For example, Zach Hernandez that trains here, he has that. He hasn't done, like when we were doing this last training cycle for the Arnold, he based his numbers off of 145 and 190, while his PRs were like 140 and 182. He's like, no, those are going to be my PRs, so I'm going to base my numbers off of those in advance. And he did that and literally already committed to making those lifts before he ever made them. So that kind of delusional confidence is huge. It's like I've trained with people that knew they were going to make teams well before they have qualified for those teams. And just the delusional confidence of already knowing it's going to happen made it happen for them. That's something that I always sucked at because I was like, yeah, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll fucking fail, and then I would fail. So don't do that. Be delusionally confident. That's the first thing. Second thing is obsession. The best in the country, literally every single thing they did was about weightlifting, which for some of them made them fairly boring people, but that's okay. If you are obsessed with weightlifting to the point that every single piece of food you put in your mouth, everything you watch on your TV, all the content you absorb is all based around weightlifting, you're going to get better at weightlifting, and that's what the best would do. I would very rarely have conversations with the best weightlifters I ever knew about anything other than weightlifting. Like the only language they spoke was weightlifting, and that's why they were so good. 3 is, we're still on mentality. 3 is optimism. This applies to kind of everything, competition, training. It's the difference between the people that see a difficult training session and they're like, oh fuck, I have to do this today. And then the really good weightlifters would be thinking about that day all week. They're like, oh shit, I get to go heavy. I get to attack these numbers. I get to kind of see where I'm at with training. Or it's like, I get to do 3x10 back squats. I get to do this terrible shit and prove to myself that I'm a fucking animal, when other athletes that aren't as good would see hard shit like that and be a little disappointed by it, or just a little not excited to attack that the same way a good weightlifter would. So all of the good athletes I've been around, and myself during my best phases of training, I would see a ridiculously hard workout and be like, fuck yeah, let's go. But now, not as good as I used to be, and I see a hard workout, I'm like, fuck this, I'm going to go ahead and quit. And 4, social media. This is a new thing, and that wasn't really a thing when I started, but it definitely has an impact. And you see people pulling out of meets, you see CrossFitters pulling out of the CrossFit games, you see a lot of stuff you didn't used to see, and the only difference between now and then is social media. And if you're someone that is getting into the sport, you want to become well-known, you want to become established in the space, but you also want to be good at weightlifting, the avenue you should take is letting your lifting do the talking. Because if you get really popular on social media first, and you're trying to be a competitive weightlifter and you advertise that out to the world, you're going to have to live up to those standards that you have set for yourself. If no one knows who you are and you get put on the map by having a very good performance, then that kind of sets the tone in the opposite direction, and you can just lift well and people know you because you're a good lifter, rather than people know you because you're annoying on social media and now you have to perform really well. It just adds pressure. And if I were you, you don't have a lot of followers yet, you want to be very good at weightlifting, try not to get a lot of followers, just let your lifts do the talking. We're going to move on to training, what happens in here. So as far as like programming goes, I would try to stay as uninvolved with what happens behind your programming as possible. I would get in the gym and do what the program says and just blindly trust it. That's what every good athlete I know has done. They don't really ask why when it comes to the programming. They recover the same, they do everything the same regardless of where they're at in their training, and they just see what's on the program and they get it done. They also treat every day the exact same. They don't go into the gym, see something on the program, and they're like, oh, I don't really have to try today. The best athletes would always do the exact same warm-up every single day, do everything the same. And then when it came time to actually train, their mentality would be the same. They would take the same amount of caffeine every single day. They would do everything the same, regardless if they had 60% power snatches or 101% lifts. They would get in there and attack that session the same way they would attack any session. And that just builds some form of consistency throughout. Obviously, like a Friday, you're gonna feel a little different when you have to max out, but if you go in there expecting to put out the same amount of effort throughout every single training session, then overall the outcome's gonna be better. If you're trying as hard as you can every single time you walk into the gym, that means the training sessions are gonna be higher quality, and with higher quality training sessions every single day, the outcome at the end of the training block or end of the training cycle is going to be better because you got more out of every single training session. All right, let's go into recovery, kind of the final block. Number one is diet. If you eat really, really well, you're gonna be fine. Probably the best weightlifter I knew, he would basically say to me, he's like, as long as I put enough food in my body, everything else can go to shit and I'll be fine. So he would wake up and eat fucking 12 eggs every morning, and he could get 3 hours of sleep. He's like, I don't care. I got my fucking 12 eggs in. I'm good. So make sure you're feeding yourself properly. This is a very physically demanding sport. The power output in this sport is higher than any other sport, and you need to be well fed and well nourished in order to do that. So make sure you are eating properly. And also don't hold yourself down to a weight class. Don't be calorie restricting around the clock throughout the whole entire year, because that is going to set you up for a plateau, or if anything, you're going to get diminishing returns and you're going to get worse at weightlifting just because you're not recovering enough. You need to eat in this sport. If you are having to restrict calories year round, then you need to go up or you need to find something else to do. Sleep is the next most important thing. I only put it above diet because, or I put it below diet because if you let your diet completely slip, I think that has a bigger negative impact than letting your sleep completely slip. But you need to, like, if you want to be as good as you can be, you need to be getting like 7 hours a night at least. The best, when I was training my best, I was literally getting 10 hours of sleep a night. And I know that's not attainable for everyone. A lot of you would have to go to bed at like 6, 7 o'clock in order for that to happen. I'm not saying do that, but I am saying you should make sleep a priority. If you're laying in bed for 45 minutes before you fall asleep scrolling on your phone, then you're missing out on kilos. That extra 30 minutes of sleep a night is an extra 3.5 hours of sleep a week. And across 2 weeks, that's a whole night of sleep that you're missing. So you should take your sleep very seriously. You should get as much as you can, regardless of what's going on. Even if you have an easy day the next day, don't skip out on sleep because it will come back and fuck you up. All the other recovery methods are, I say they would give you less than 1% of an advantage. And all those things, meaning ice bath, sauna, Theragun, foam rolling, yoga, stretching, PT, unless you have an injury, all this stuff, like Graston, cupping, that shit, like, it might help a little bit. There's just so little evidence that it really benefits the sport. Ice bathing, for example, hasn't shown, there's not a lot of literature saying that it is great for what we do in weightlifting. But there is a lot of literature that supports it's good for lifestyle, brain fog, anxiety, depression, blah, 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 all this stuff. So that's why I do it. I don't do it because I think it makes me better at weightlifting. If you're going to take time out of your day to do these things, and that time could be spent dialing in your nutrition or getting more sleep, you are wasting your time doing those things. So make sure your priorities are straight with recovery. Do not just do things because you see people on social media do them. Those same people you see on social media doing things are probably turning their camera off and doing shit they would advertise that they would never do, because social media is fake as hell. And if you guys are fucking eating stuff with chemicals in it, like Rice Krispie treats, and the Optimal Bro on Instagram says you're going to die when you're 25, you're probably not. You're going to be all right. And the biggest thing I've seen is that the best weightlifters are responsible 6 days a week. Now, I've trained and lived with a lot of guys. I've been on teams with a lot of guys that were very good. And not one of them was a completely sober guy. One night a week, they would have some beers, do something, but they would be very disciplined 6 days a week. So as long as you're doing that, you're going to be good. Don't go drinking every day. Don't do shit like that just because you hear the best aren't sober, straight edge dudes. 6 days a week, you need to be responsible. You can have one night to kind of let loose and whatever. I wouldn't recommend it because it's a slippery slope, but as long as you're being responsible 6 days a week, then you're going to be fine. But that is pretty much it. I think I covered all the bases. If you guys have questions about anything involving this, drop them in the comments, and I'm going to be doing some lifting the next time we film, so I'll answer those questions as I'm lifting. But that's it. Take the information, absorb it into your body, and use my codes. Gorilla Mind, code Dozer. They just redid the Gorilla Mode Energy. It's brand new. It's got a bunch of, it's even higher dose than it was before. So if you really want to crack out, go ahead and get some of that using code Dozer. Onyx Straps, code Dozer. Barbell Apparel, support these guys because they support the hell out of me and make videos like this possible. And tune back in whenever the next video is getting posted. This one's going to come out. Next one's probably going to come out on Monday. So I will see you guys on Monday.